Welcome to Studio 135, brought to you by The Viewpoint.
My name is Hunter Bergman with guest speaker Stephanie Olson from the nonprofit, the Set Me Free Project. The nonprofit partnered with Northeast Community College's Phi Beta Lambda in an effort to raise awareness and educate the community on human trafficking. Stephanie, tell us a little bit about what the Set Me Free Project does.
Well, the Set Me Free Project started almost 4 years ago because we noticed that there was a gap in the services that were being offered for victims or potential victims of sex trafficking. And there was not a lot of prevention education being done, none in Nebraska. And so we began to speak to kiddos. We started with a curriculum middle school, high school, but then we expanded it third grade and up through college, and educators, parents. So our goal is to actually bring prevention education everywhere so that we can stop trafficking before it starts.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So let's talk about a little bit about the Phi Beta Lambda partnership.
Yeah.
Being the local chapter president, we reached out to you guys in an effort to raise awareness and educate the community. Tell us a little bit about the Sidney Loof Memorial Scholarship that we're trying to raise money for.
Absolutely. Well, we were really excited that you reached out, and it's always great to have partners because not one organization is going to do this alone, and so it's so critical. Sidney Loof was a 24-year-old woman who lived in Lincoln, Nebraska, and she found a date on Tinder and went on the date, and it ended up, unfortunately, in her murder. And we don't know all of the details, but there's evidence that she was possibly going to be sold. We're not sure. But we were honored to speak to all of the students in Neely, Nebraska, where Sidney is from. And her dad is the principal. Her mom is a special education teacher. And we, through that, connected with the Loof family. And they are just an amazing family. And we decided that we wanted to honor Sidney's life in a way that I think is completely appropriate, because this is one of the things that we're trying to stop. And whether Sidney's death was related to trafficking at all, one of the number one ways traffickers get their victims is through social media. So we do a lot of social media safety. And through the meeting of the family, we offered to put a scholarship fund together in her name. And so we're just very honored to be a part of that.
So who can apply for this scholarship?
So we are opening it up May 1st for next year's scholarship fund, and any high school student who might be going into criminal justice, cyber safety, something that protects our kids from the predators that we're trying to stop. Any of those kiddos.
Yeah, that's very important to educate the community first, because the community is ultimately the people who can see it, stop it,
Absolutely.
And then prevent it.
Yeah,
so that's very important.
Statistically, it is proven that when the community is involved, whether it be schools, businesses, parents, whatever, when the community is involved, trafficking goes down a significant percentage.
Definitely. So how can the community contribute to the fight on human trafficking?
Well, many ways. One of the things, I think, the biggest thing the community can do is get educated so that they know what to watch for. Because we're not watching for, I think, often what we think we're watching for. We're watching for a grooming process. And I always tell parents and grandparents, it's your kid and your grandkids that are at risk. And with social media, it's actually in your home. And so the more the community is educated, the more they're aware of what to watch for and how to stop that. So that is critical. One of the things that they can do is we offer a business sponsorship, and we offer training yearly so that all of their staff members know exactly what to look for. That is a huge way. And I think just supporting anti-trafficking organizations and supporting the Sidney Loof Scholarship Fund so that they can support other young adults going into this field.
So what do you think is the cause of the human trafficking? Is it some sort of negative byproduct of society?
Yes, I think that the biggest cause, and this has been, trafficking is modern day slavery. And slavery has been an issue in our world forever. And you cannot make somebody a slave, you cannot traffic somebody unless you look at them as a subhuman. And so I think the cause of trafficking is not recognizing that every human life has tremendous value. And so we can stop it by stopping demand. And so those that are buying sex, those that are bringing on people for labor, things like that, we can stop it by teaching even those people what is truly happening, what they're doing when they're buying young kids. And somehow getting to the traffickers, one of the things that we're trying to research is what does that trafficker look like from time they were little to now? Is there a common denominator? Is there something that we can see that maybe we can intervene at an early age?
So kind of stop it from the source.
That would be great, yes, yeah. But unfortunately, money. That's why people get trafficked, because there's a lot of money in it. And unfortunately, there are a lot of high-powered people that are complicit. And so it's hard to stop because a lot of the people we need to stop it, are complicit sometimes. So it makes it difficult.
Yeah, so it's very important to be educated, and
yes.
Especially as a community too as well.
Most definitely, yeah.
So what would you say, how would you help a human trafficking victim? What's the best way to kind of support them?
Well, that's a great question. And we don't personally work with victims, but we work with a lot of organizations who do. I think the best way to support a trafficking victim is building a relationship and allowing them that space to, get that restoration and healing. I think sometimes there is a tendency to just want to save them and really they need to make that decision that if they're not a minor, they need to make that decision that this is something that I want for the rest of my life.
Because they kind of view it as a relationship.
Exactly.
And it's hard to, realize somebody, pull them out of that relationship.
That's exactly right. Most trafficking victims do not self-identify as victims. And so, yes, you're absolutely right.
So it's very important to get them educated on what that looks like.
And building that relationship with them so that they know that you're a safe person to go to. And sometimes it's just planting a seed. I talked to a nurse who was kind of on the front lines with a trafficking victim, and she said to her, if you ever need to come back, we're a safe place. Well, she eventually did. And so it's not an easy thing, but sometimes just being that safe place. And then as a community, getting a strong network, whether it be safe houses, shelters, restoration places that victims can actually go to become survivors.
Definitely. And so as a community, kind of accepting it and diminishing that stigma, that negative stigma, and allowing them with open arms, and because they are a victim.
Right, absolutely, and recognizing that it's not necessarily what we think it is. I think we have this image that a trafficking victim looks a certain way or is a certain way,
or like a kidnapping, something like that.
Exactly. But I work with a survivor who was trafficked when she's in her 40s now, but she was trafficked when she was 7 years old, sold by her babysitter to some guy, and she doesn't even know what was exchanged for money. But the layers of trauma that come through with all of that is so remarkably scary and hard to it's hard to get out of.
So Stephanie, what are a few resources that victims can reach out to, or businesses or community members?
Well, the National Trafficking Hotline number, and that is for anybody who either needs help or who spots something that they might think is trafficking, or even if they don't know, it's better to call that number. They make it very simple. It's 888-3737-888, or they can text Be Free. And so those are really good resources. We're an organization that would love to come in and provide training and education, and we do that with businesses for a very small annual sponsorship, but we provide that consistent training so that their teams are consistently aware and educated, and then we offer trainings and classes and things on our website as well.
So what are a few ways businesses could connect with you?
Well, they can always go to our website at setmefreeproject.net. They can call us at 402-521-3080, or they can find us on Facebook at Set Me Free Project. We're on Twitter. I don't know what that handle is. It's like at the SMF something project. I don't know what it is. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram as well.
Good deal. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us today. We appreciate your impact to the community, and hopefully our speaking event goes well.
Thank you so much, Hunter. And it's been great working with you and your team, and I'm just so glad that we could do this and really affect in a positive way the Norfolk community.
Definitely. It's a very good experience for our organization too as well. Planning a project and community service is one of our big key points that we really like to hit on. So this really is one of the biggest community service projects our organization has been a part of.
Awesome.
So we're very appreciative that it's with you guys.
Well, anything we can do to help. Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Have a good day.